Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to November. Hope you had a great Halloween weekend. Little change up this week. We're not going to be moving on in the book. The next chapter in our book actually is something that we cover in digital photography next semester. So we're kind of taking a pause here and doing something different. But first of all, I want you guys to watch this video or others on what's new in Photoshop 2021. I have a link for it right here. There's some really cool things like sky replacements, and it comes with a lot of different skies. We have these new neural filters where you can change skin tone and smile and aging, and it's absolutely crazy. We have some intelligent hair refine, which we're going to be working on next learning plan when we work on refining hair. It also has pattern previews, live shapes that include a triangle now instead of just a crazy polygon. There are plugins and extras. So I would like you to watch this video and or any others. Hopefully you were able to tune into Adobe Max and watch some of their information as well. It is still available, so you can still go in and watch. Speaking of all of that, you should upgrade to Adobe 2021. I'm going to come over here to Photoshop. I guess I'm in the middle of something, so I can't do that. In your Adobe Creative Cloud, you should be updating to the latest version, which is Adobe 2021. And I've done that for both Photoshop and Illustrator on my computer, so you can see that I'm up to date. But Photoshop version 22 is the most current, and Illustrator it's version 25. A lot of you have auto update turned on, so it's happening without your knowledge. And a couple people have emailed me saying, I didn't know I did it, but apparently I've updated. That's fine. We're going to all be on the same page by next week for sure. So please do go ahead and update to 2021. One of the really cool things in the new update of Photoshop is this thing called neural filters, which is what I have open right now. And one of the things you can do is you can change the facial age, the amount of hair, if they're happy or sad, surprised or angry, even if people have their mouths closed, like a smile with no teeth showing, somehow this generates teeth and it looks really accurate. So I don't know if you remember this guy. Here he is up here as the preview. This was that older gentleman that we used Liquify on last year, and I was just playing around with some of these new neural filters, and I took 47 years off of him. I thickened up his hair, and I made him happier, which gave him more teeth. This is being output to a new layer, so I'm just going to click on OK down here and see how it turns out or if it crashes my computer. These neural filters, which are new, are done in the cloud, so they take a little longer to generate, but nothing is done on your computer, which is kind of neat. So here's the layer of his new face, and if we turn that off, oh boy, there's Bob before. And here's Bob after. That is crazy. Wow, the things they can do in Photoshop. So go ahead, watch what's new, play around with some of the features. But for your assignment this week, I'm having you do some critical thinking skills again with tutorials. So we're going to work on text tutorials, and you get to choose the one that you want. This is going to involve stylizing text, sometimes with patterns or files that you have to download. So it's completely your choice. I have tons of them listed here. There's hundreds on these two sites alone, and here, and some even older ones. Now the trick is I'll take you to Envato first. That's this link. So make sure you're working in Photoshop, not Illustrator. This is Photoshop class. And if you find one of these that looks pretty cool and you'd like to know how to do this text effect, you can simply follow the tutorial and download whatever you need to do it. I want you to kind of think about what you might be doing for your final project, which is going to be a movie poster. So if that's something that you kind of have in mind already, maybe you know what, I'm going to need something like this, or I'm going to need something really funky or really disco-ish or watercolorish, whatever. As you can see, there are so many on this page alone. and eventually it goes on to even more. The thing about tutorials is that sometimes they're written for an earlier version of Photoshop and things don't exactly work the way you expect them to, but that's important from a troubleshooting standpoint. I want you to get used to always having to learn and think critically because the software will just continually change. So this came out in June. Obviously, whatever updates were just made to Photoshop may or may not impact any of these. Probably not is my guess. The other one that I gave you is this Hongkiet, and there's just a million of them here as well, and many, many pages to choose from. So have fun with this. The thing that I don't want is 2 of you or 3 of you all doing the first one. So you have to choose one that nobody else has done yet, and you're going to click on this link to fill out this form. And it's first come, first served. So for an example, I said I want to do holographic holographic text from Design Tuts Plus. And here's the link to that. So no one else could do that. Obviously, I'm not really doing it. If somebody wants that one, you can. But go through this list, and if any of your classmates have already claimed a tutorial or something very similar, you can't do it. We have to mix it up. So, when you decide upon a tutorial, you do not need to download the chosen font unless you want to. Some of them will try to sell you a font. You clearly don't have to do that. If they involve a pattern, you might get pop-ups that look like either of these 2 options, and they want you to download the pattern, but they always kind of trick you into doing something else. So in this example where it says, you know, download all of this, not true. You just need to get the font and the pattern. Or over here, this is actually downloading a zip extractor program for you, even though it looks like you're getting what you want, but here's the pattern download. PAT is a pattern file. You do not need to follow the tutorials to the exact detail. If they guide you through a specific gradient and you'd like to create your own, that's fine. However, your example must fit the look of the tutorial. Do not deviate too far. So you're going to be doing the tutorial as they direct you. So in this case, if you were doing this one, the word would be shiny, and it would literally look like this when you're done. Then I want you to upload the PSD. So you're going to upload the PSD along with an explanation in the message section. I just want you to explain if you had any problems or aha, or you figured it out, or it took 3 times but then it makes sense. And you can also include the URL of the tutorial in that message box, even though it's also going to be in this document. And then finally, I want you to go back to the PSD, change the text, and it might be as easy as doing it on one text layer, but you might have duplicated it and rasterized it. If that's the case, you're going to have to back up in your tutorial, but change the text to be your name. And if the background is just some simple color, the original one that they gave you, for instance, it's just blue, I'd like you to edit the color as well to show that you know how to do that. And then save that one as a JPEG. So both the PSD with the original tutorial text and the JPEG of your name are due. And these are due by the start of class next week, which will be November 9th. So have fun looking around. There's tons of them. It's really a fun exercise. And if you happen to be in the Mac lab, a bunch of samples are hanging on the whiteboard to the right when you walk in the door. So over by where the paper cutters are located. All right, have a great week and let me know if you have any questions.